A Great Lakes Academy Learning Lab production. My name is Michael Charles, and I'm an educational diagnostician, and for a number of years I was also a teacher. And a good part of that has been here at Great Lakes Academy in Plano, Texas. We are a school that serves students with learning differences, and a large portion of our population here are students who are on the autism spectrum. And what I would like to do today with this video is give you a better understanding of students who are on the autism spectrum, of what that looks like in the classroom and the things that you can do in the classroom to help them. Ultimately, a better understanding of students on the spectrum is going to lead to better teaching for you. And of course, ultimately, and the big picture is it's going to lead to a big benefit for the students in your classroom. Autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental difference affecting social communication, flexibility, and behavior patterns. People on the autism spectrum are like anyone else in that they are unique individuals. This illustration shows that those on the autism spectrum can have different strengths and different challenges regarding the traits commonly associated with autism. In short, you're probably going to see different students with different needs in your classroom. So what challenges may you see from a student who is on the autism spectrum in your classroom? Difficulty with group work or social skills, displaying rigid thinking, such as having trouble adapting to or having trouble shifting from one idea to another, struggles with change, specific interest. They may have things that they're hyper-focused on, and so getting them to branch out on other topics may be challenging as well. Sensory sensitivities such as light and sounds, and also difficulty with inferences or abstract language, things like sarcasm. They might take it literally. So what are some things that we can do to help students in the classroom? Well, first of all, we can use direct language. Students on the autism spectrum often struggle with pragmatics. They often struggle with figurative language. They tend to be very concrete thinkers. So especially with directions and things of that nature, we need to be very clear and direct. Doesn't mean we don't practice figurative language. Of course we do. But we reserve that for those times, and other times when we're giving directions or working with the student, we want to make sure that we're clear. So we can also provide social skills coaching. You might run into a situation where a student is struggling in a conversation or a relationship, and it is perfectly okay to step in and help out. It's also okay to pull a student aside and privately give them some tips to avoid any embarrassment. We also want to provide routine and structure for them. This helps all students, but especially students on the spectrum really need that structure. With that, we want to notify them ahead of time if there's any changes. And I would have, as a teacher, I would have a whiteboard, and part of my whiteboard would have dates and things that were going on that were changes, and I would refer to them often in the days coming up to them. Like, for instance, if we had a pep rally or a field trip or anything of that nature, even school pictures, I would say, here you go, here's what's coming up, and we could avoid any undue stress. We also want to incorporate their interest, but that will engage them, but at the same time, we want to introduce new interesting topics to them as well. And if you're having a conversation with the student, it's okay to drive the conversation and say, hey, well, we talked about, Legos for a little while, but I'm really interested in this. What do you think about it? And that right there can kind of send them on a new tangent, and it might open them up to some new ideas that would help them branch out in different topics. We also want to model flexible thinking. So sometimes students can be really rigid. We all can be really rigid, but it doesn't really work in the real world that you get everything your way all the time. So we have to be modeling and show them how to be flexible. I had a student before who was very rigid, and I struggled with him for a while, and he would ask me to change assignments. And so I started where I could, I would change the assignment to his preference, like he wanted to do it on the computer and generate his art that way or what have you. And then there was times that I couldn't let him, And so we had said previously, there'll be times that I can be flexible and there'll be times that I can't. And I would tell him in that instance, on this particular assignment, it has to be done a certain way. And I can be flexible with you sometimes, but in this case, we've really got to do it this way. And to be honest with you, he really progressed largely there because he was open to that. And I do think it was because he knew that there was times that there could be flexibility and other times that it had to be done a certain way. All right, so hopefully this video was helpful for you to better understand students who are on the autism spectrum and what you might see in your classroom, as well as give you some ideas of how to work with these students to ensure their success. If you have a need for more information, we have all kinds of videos on YouTube regarding autism spectrum disorder, executive functioning, ADHD, and if you want more information, then come on over and find out. We're at Great Lakes Academy Learning Lab on YouTube, and we look forward to seeing you again there. Thanks for watching.